A cold decree, a hidden fire. My sister, Elise, stood in our family's mahogany-lined dining room, her tailored suit crisp, declaring my rent would surge from $1,800 to $5,200. Her martini glass caught the lamplight, her smile sharp as she played benevolent overlord. "It's only fair," she said, eyes locking on me, expecting submission from Nora, the overlooked sister. 10 minutes later, her throne of control would collapse, and I held the spark. Thanks for joining Nora's Uprising. If families ever dimmed your shine, hit subscribe. It's free and fuels stories like this. Let's blaze on. Growing up, Elise was the family star. MIT grad, CFO by 33, the gold standard of ambition. I was Nora, the dependable one. My real estate ventures brushed off as that side hustle. Elise's triumphs, $15M acquisitions, dominated every reunion, while uncles offered pity. Still tinkering with rentals, Nora? I thrived on scouting undervalued properties, turning fixer-uppers into gold, but passion didn't win me a seat at their table. For 7 years, I rented a one-bedroom in a vintage building on Maple Avenue, owned by our late grandmother's estate, managed by Elise for free. My rent was $1,800, $300 below market, a favor she flaunted like a crown. "Most in your bracket couldn't afford this area," she'd smirk, tossing her generosity like spare coins. I paid on time, even when the AC broke in July or the stove died for weeks. In her story, I was the grateful tenant, never the equal. For years ago, Grandma shifted the script. Over tea in her cluttered study, sorting her accounts, she slipped me a faded note. "Elise thinks she sees it all," she whispered, eyes sharp at 89. "But the quiet ones hold the real power, Nora." I didn't grasp it then. After her passing, her private attorney, unknown to Elise, called me. Grandma had left me a secret inheritance, not grand, but enough to plant a seed. I didn't tell a soul. For 3 years, I built in silence. While Elise preached independence, I studied property law, pored over contracts, and formed Maple Ventures LLC. Public records revealed Grandma's building was sinking in debt, its new owner desperate to sell quietly. With my inheritance savings and a loan, I bought it through my LLC. Elise, too busy basking in her own glow, never checked the deeds. She bragged about managing the estate, pocketing fees for work I'd streamlined, while I collected the real rents. That night, in Grandma's dining room, 14 relatives sat, plates cleared, glasses brimming. Elise stood, poised like a judge. "Nora's rent is $1,800, far below market. Units on Maple list at $5,000 to $5,500. I've subsidized her for years, $150,000 of my kindness." Aunt Clara gasped, as if Elise had funded a charity. "It's time Nora stands alone," Elise added, sliding a lease across the table. "Sign or move out." All eyes pinned me, the failure, the freeloader. My parents looked down, silent. My phone buzzed. 5 minutes out. I'd texted my lawyer earlier. "Bring the papers." Elise, misreading my calm, pressed on. "Here are comps," she said, flashing her tablet. $5 for 100, $5,600. Nora gets a deal at $5,200. Cousin Leo chuckled. "Time to get roommates, Nor." The doorbell chimed. Elise frowned. "Who interrupts dinner?" I rose, pulled steady, and opened the door. A woman in a navy suit, briefcase in hand, stepped in. "This is Ms. Harper," I said. Elise scoffed. "Your lawyer?" I smiled. "She represents Maple Ventures, LLC." Ms. Harper set her briefcase down, distributing sleek folders. "I'm here for Maple Ventures, owners of 124 Maple Avenue," she said, voice clear. "We're addressing lease irregularities." Elise's face paled. "I manage that property," she stammered. Harper adjusted her glasses. "Not anymore. Maple Ventures acquired it 3 years ago." She placed documents on the table. Deeds, tax records, all in my name. The room stilled. Uncle Ted muttered, "What's happening?" Elise shook her head. This is a lie. I met her gaze. You tried to double my rent on my own building, Elise. You thought you could bury me. Gasps rippled. My mother's glass trembled. Dad stared, speechless. Harper continued. Elise occupies Unit 3, month to month. She's subject to standard terms. Elise recoiled. I won't pay you. I leaned in, voice low. You raised my rent in front of everyone, thinking you'd win. But I own every brick. You're my tenant. Aunt Clara whispered, Karma. Elise's composure shattered, eyes glassy. You tricked me, she hissed. No, I said. I just stopped letting you define me. Harper snapped her briefcase shut. My card, Ms. Nora, for further needs. She left, and silence swallowed the room. Elise slumped, her authority gone. I walked out, the night air crisp, years of belittlement falling away. I didn't need their cheers, just the quiet of my own power. Weeks later, Elise called, voice small, begging for a deal. You're my sister, she pleaded. You raised my rent to $5,200, I replied. Why should you get a pass? Mom tried guilt. You've broken us. I answered. You broke me first, letting Elise rewrite my worth. I manage my tenants now, upgrading my building with care. Neighbors thank me for fixes Elise ignored. One night, Elise stood outside, diminished under the streetlight. You've changed, she said.
No, irraplia.
I've just claimed my story. I felt free, not from revenge, but from needing her approval. My life, built deed by deed, is mine. Elise pays rent now, or she'll leave. A loom calls across the lake, my triumphs echo, suspense resolved in my unshackled strength.